Hello and welcome to this Revit tutorial. In this second part, we're going to model the actual fabric of this ceiling, this outdoor structure. So let's get into it. So we're going to use this feature of Revit called model in place component. So if you just click the down arrow of component, model in place. So that's what we're going to use. So before we get there, we want to draw a section first, running this way. So section is under view, section. And so I'll just draw a section line like that and reduce the scale so that these elements don't look too huge. Yeah, so within this section, if I just go to the view, this is what we're gonna see. I'll just make it medium so that you can see the beam. So what our idea is to draw one cloth like this, like that, and then the one going the opposite direction, like that, like that, like that. Okay. So back to level 1 structural so that we can see the beams. If you use level 1 ya kawaida, you won't see the beams. Yeah, so let's go to architecture, component, model in place. What we're modeling is just a generic model. It's not really, because it's a piece of cloth. It could be a ceiling, but we'll just call it a generic model. So we'll call it woven cloth. Let's give it a name. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go to the section view and we will create a few reference planes just to help us align these things nicely. So we'll do that and that. We'll just align this top one to the top of the beam and the bottom one to the bottom of the beam. Okay, so we want to now, there are now a number of ways to do this. Within this model in place environment, notice the things, the options here change. Instead of architecture, structural, now it's create, insert, annotate. And these are the tools that we have here. So these tools are pretty much like SketchUp, if you've used SketchUp before, but they are just for creating different types of geometry. So an extrusion, a blend, revolve. These ones you can play around with them later. What we're going to do is first create this first piece of cloth, which is going to go up, from up, down, up, down. This section, extrusion. So pick a plane. So it's telling you to pick your current work plane because by default, extrusions are drawn vertically. How will I explain that? This extrusion, if you watch this mini clip here, it's like drawn on the floor and then pulled upwards, as you've seen in that short clip. But now we want to draw an extrusion sideways. We go to 3D. We want to draw an extrusion in this direction. We're drawing a piece of cloth in this direction, and then we'll thicken it. Let me just continue, and then we'll see what we mean. So I'll pick a plane, and I'll draw it on that face of that column. So it's as if we are drawing on this, now facing this direction. And so I'll start from katikati, down, up, down. And then I will fillet these. So, of course, these fillets will have to be much smaller. So if I make it 100, yeah. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is offset. So a piece of cloth is really thin. It could be like 1 millimeter. So we'll just do that. So if I press tab, all of those lines are going to be offset at the same time. So now we've created a very thin membrane that goes up, down, like that. If you want to be very meticulous and like make this wrap below it, then yeah, you just move your lines around. Even this one, if you want it to go above the beam, then yeah, just change the angles of the lines. I won't do that for you for now. This is just a demonstration. So I'll close this up. I'll make sure you have to make sure whatever profile you're drawing, like this thing that you're drawing here, it should be a closed loop. Like there should be no, like if you draw a shape like this that is not complete, Revit will refuse. So that's the reason why I've made sure I've closed off that end and the other end. So when I say okay, we now have an extrusion which looks like that. So if I pull this way, I'm able to extrude it in that direction. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is, first of all, create another one which now goes the opposite way. So I will go back to this section and create extrusion. Pick a plane, so I'll still pick this face of this column. So just something to note, if you pick this line, it will go in a different direction from, so I'm pressing tab until this whole column is highlighted, the face that is looking at us now. So that's the face we want to use as our work plane. Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing, but now in the opposite direction. So there. Oh, okay. If you want to be meticulous in, like, say that, then there, and then there. Okay, and then offset the 1 millimeter. So I'll just press tab so that I offset all the lines at once. If you don't press tab, then you'll have to go to each and every line and offset them individually, which is, if you like to waste time, that's fine. Yeah. And then, okay, so if I go back to my 3D, this is the other piece of cloth. So I'm just using these handles to sort of move them around. Now, if you want to know exactly how to distribute them, then you go back to our level 1 and remember the reference planes that we used. So we're gonna use those to kind of snap them in place. So this last space here, it will look exactly as this first cloth. So I'm just going to copy that down. Copy, where is that? Copy, and then remove this constraint element so that we're able to move it down like that. Yeah, so if I go back to 3D, we have this thing system. Thank you very much for watching this second part of the tutorial. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.